one of our students went from $0 to $200,000 in sales in just 9 months. In this episode, we're sharing their journey and breaking down the exact step-by-step strategy that they followed to amplify their sales. If you're a print-on-demand seller struggling to make sales, this episode is for you. My name is Adrian Von Arx, here with my co-host, Carlos Colon. Welcome to the Print On Demand podcast, a show dedicated to helping you make money online with Shopify and print on demand. What's up? Thank you for tuning in and welcome to the show. We got a juicy one for y'all. I'm so excited because we're going to be sharing a case study from one of our T-Shirt Legends Academy students whose print-on-demand business blew up very quickly, going from $0 to $200,000 in revenue in just 9 months. So I'm just gonna get right into it. This episode, we're gonna be breaking down into 2 parts because y'all know we love our breakdowns. Part 1 is we're gonna be sharing their story, and it's gonna be their story as spoken by them, which I'll get to that in a second. And then part 2 is their strategy. We want the deets, yes. Right? Everyone wants the deets. Give me the strategy. We got you, all right? The reason we're telling the story first is because we're hoping that you'll actually take this as inspiration for yourself, because this person actually started off as a podcast listener on our former podcast, the Print On Demand Playbook podcast. Shout out to all our listeners of that old podcast. We love you guys. So they were actually a listener of that podcast, and they actually mention it in their story. So let's just jump right in. Part 1, their story. So this student, they were actually kind enough to write us a testimonial for T-Shirt Legends Academy where they shared their inspirational story and their growth timeline, which is so awesome because now we can peel it back and let you see how it all, transpired for them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna read their entire write-up verbatim because I wanted you to hear it straight from them, okay? So this is verbatim. Let's just jump right in. So the title of their write-up was Our POD Journey from Humble Beginnings to Thriving Success. Our POD journey started unexpectedly while hauling hay one summer day when I stumbled upon Adrian's podcast, Print On Demand Playbook. After just 1 episode, I was hooked. Adrian's positivity and passion for the business were contagious, making it impossible not to get excited about the possibilities. I spent the next week listening to every past episode, taking notes, and soaking up every piece of advice. Being completely new to the industry, my wife and I struggled to figure things out on our own. We spent months trying to piece together information, testing different strategies, and learning through trial and error. But without a clear system, we kept hitting roadblocks. Finally, we took the leap and joined Adrian and Carlos's T-Shirt Legends Academy, and it was the best decision we could have made. The knowledge, structure, and support have been game changers for our business, and we couldn't be more grateful. Thanks to the clear processes and roadmap outlined in the TLA training course, we started seeing results almost immediately, accelerating our growth faster than we ever expected. The results we experienced with TLA were nothing short of incredible. Now, here's where the magic happens. This is the timeline. This is the breakdown, all right? As stated by them. In our first 30 days, we generated $15,880.54 in sales. By day 60, that number had skyrocketed to $63,516.99 in sales. And by the 90-day mark, we had surpassed 6 figures with $101,660.60 in total sales. I love that they're giving the specific numbers down to the penny. This is awesome. Fast forward just 9 months and we have reached an astonishing $207,713.71 in revenue. I'm having trouble reading these. Woo woo.
There we go.
The structured approach and proven strategies from TLA made all the difference, turning our POD business into a thriving success in record time. None of this would have been possible without Adrian, Carlos, and the incredible TLA community. Their mentorship, proven strategies, and unwavering support have been the driving force behind our success. What once felt like a distant dream, owning a thriving POD business and living the entrepreneurial life, has now become our reality. We are beyond grateful for their guidance, the overwhelming support from the TLA community members, and the life-changing opportunities that TLA has provided us. This is just the beginning. Man, Carlos, was that not just action-packed?
Yeah. And I mean, they get the credit because they actually took the action.
100%. 100% MIA, massive imperfect action. They went
Yes.
MIA. Now, a few things worth noting that I wanted to mention that I don't think were really clear in here, but we've had a chance to spend a lot of time with this individual. So they were new to print on demand, all right? So they were new to print on demand when they started this business. This student and his wife, they both worked other jobs. This was not both of their full-time gigs. And I want to bust a myth, because there's this myth that you have to have a big social media following to make a lot of sales and grow your brand. And that is just nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. And I'm going to give you the proof right here. This is just one of so many successful people, ourselves included. We built both of our brands from scratch, 0 followers, 0 social media presence. And then we built that up over time, right? When we were making our first 6 figures, we didn't have many Facebook and Instagram followers. But this individual, this is really interesting. They did not have a large social media following. Around the time they surpassed $140,000 in sales, they had just 329 Instagram followers and around 2,000 Facebook followers. Proof that you do not need a large social media following to see success. That is a myth. We've busted it here before. We're going to bust it again, and we're busting it now. All right. I wanted to mention too that we actually were fortunate to spend a lot of time with this particular brand owner, kind of a combination of things. On our monthly group coaching calls, our brand audit calls. So we audited their brand a couple times. And these are group, essentially it's like having a strategy team. So all TLA members are on this. It's a live call. And any member can submit for a brand audit. And they actually submitted for a couple. So we did some brand audits. And because they actually unlocked multiple one-on-one calls with Carlos and I, we like to gamify the brand building process. And so when you hit certain milestones in a certain period of time, you unlock one-on-one calls with Carlos and I, where it's all focused around your brand and making more sales and growth. So the first one is if you hit $10,000 in the first 12 months, $10,000 in revenue in the first 12 months, you unlock a one-on-one call with Carlos and I. And this person, they unlocked multiple because they were just smashing through these milestones. And we applaud them for that. We're so excited for them. So this gave us a lot of chance to learn about their business, the strategy, and that's what we're going to discuss next. So I was just trying to give you some context. This is how we know so much about their business and about their particular strategy. Carlos, is there anything you want to add before we get into part 2 and break down that strategy?
No, I think we should jump in right away. Let's go
rock
strategy.
And roll. Let's do it. Breaking news. Starting November 1st, Kittl is making many of its most popular AI models completely free for everyone for a limited time. No pro plan or payment required. Yes, you heard that correctly. Here's how it works. Kittl is opening access to 10 million AI generations across the platform using the world's hottest AI models. That means anyone, new or existing users, can use AI directly in the canvas, try the new Smartboard features where multiple artboards can be connected with AI, and explore new AI models like Nano Banana and Seedream for different styles and outputs. Some of my personal favorite ways to use Kittl AI are for design creation, mockup generation, and image editing. But this is a limited time promo, and once the 10 million generation pool runs out, they'll return to charging tokens. So now's the time to test, create, and see what's possible with Kittl's new AI. If you're not yet using Kittl, you can try it for free by clicking the link in the show notes, or get 25% off a paid plan with code ADRIANPOD. All right, so this strategy, we're gonna be breaking it down into 4 parts, all right? And I'm just gonna number them all one by one, and then at the end, I'm gonna give you guys a summary. Here we go, part 1 of the strategy. So this is the first step. They chose a profitable niche and created all of their products and content for that specific niche. Now, out of respect for them, I'm not going to share their specific niche or their brand name, but what I will say is it's a very popular sport that many people are passionate about, and they primarily sell t-shirts and apparel. T-shirts and apparel. So their best seller, I believe, is a t-shirt. Probably their few top best sellers are t-shirts, but they do sell other apparel items. But That's kind of a little bit about them, all right? So what we call niching down. This is a very important part of the strategy that we teach in TLA, because you always want to choose a niche and make it very crystal clear who your brand serves and why it exists, right? This is just a great way to differentiate and attract brand loyal customers, your diehard raving 1,000 true fans, brand loyal customers who purchase on repeat. I'm not going to go too much more into the niche because we've got a lot more to cover and we're going to be spending a lot of this time on marketing. So Carlos, anything you want to add to that before I get into number 2?
Yeah, just quickly, it's a sport, so it's very simple. It's very easy to explain to people. It's also a sport that they're passionate about. It was also a sport that a lot of people did.
Yep. Thank you. So one of the biggest mistakes that we see a lot of new brand owners make is they totally overcomplicate the niche. Here's the thing, guys. We've done so many one-on-one calls with students who have hit these milestones. And one of the most consistent trends amongst every single one is their niche is super simple. It's crystal clear. We say simple sells when it comes to designs. Simple sells across the freaking board. Simple sells when you have a simple niche. Simple sells when it comes to your design. Simple sells when it comes to your website. Simple sells when it comes to your marketing. Things do not have to be overcomplicated, and we don't want you to overcomplicate things. Yep. So please, the last thing I'm going to say, keep your niche very, very simple. All right, yes. That's all I'm going to say. Let's move on to number 2. They created a winning design. Guys, this is a must if you want to grow very, very quickly, all right? So what I will say is that it's pretty unusual to see someone create a winning design within their first month of launching their brand. That's highly unusual, all right? I just want to clear the air here and set realistic expectations. Most people will not do this. Most people will not do this. We did not do this with either of our brands, all right? We did not create a winner in the first month. Some do, yes, and we love that for them. I hope that that happens for you. But I just want you to know that this is not the norm, right? This is an outlier result. So kind of going back here, so they actually created a winning design in their first month of launching their brand, and they were able to market it effectively, and that worked out really, really well for them, right? They ran paid ads because they had a design that they knew was a winner. They put paid ads behind it to amplify their reach, and as a result, that amplified the sales very, very quickly to them, leading to a large income spike in the business, and they continued to ride that for very, very long. And they started with one, but they had other designs that were selling really well as well, all right? So this brand owner, they are proof that all you need is one design to take your brand to the next level. They were riding one design to their first 6 figures, all right? So that is just proof. I'm not saying that they didn't have other designs on their website. I'm saying that they had one winning design that they were driving traffic to, and people were buying. And many of those people, maybe they bought other stuff as well, but they were being brought in through that winning design. And this is why we always say that you're just one design away. One design can quite literally transform your business and transform your life. Of course, we want you to be a hit maker, right? We don't want you to just be a one-hit wonder. We actually want you to regularly release winning designs, but it all starts with that first one. I have to say, for both of our brands, the hardest part was getting to our first $100,000 in sales. Because once we were there, we already knew we were onto something. We already had validation. We already knew we had something good. And we were able to scale up from 100,000 very, very quickly. And I might even argue that the first 1,000 or 10,000 is the hardest if you want to get even more granular, because this is the trial and error process. This is the testing out process. You don't have a winner if you're creating designs and you're validating them by driving traffic to them and nobody is buying. Most likely you don't have a winning design, and that's totally fine. Welcome to the club. That's everybody when they start out, right? Unless you already have an audience or you already have you created this design that you knew was viral or something, but that's everybody. So I just want to kind of get that point across. You're always one design away. Carlos, I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, really quick. Their first winning design was text-based, very simple, very well niched. It's something that only their niche would understand.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny. Most of our winning designs have been purely text-based. And I don't think enough people talk about this. And I don't know exactly why. There's lots of data to support that simple sells. We've been saying it for a really long time, just based on our own experience, what's sold best for us, but also what's sold best for our students and other successful sellers in our network. So we know a lot of other successful print-on-demand sellers, and a lot of them, exact same thing. It is a very common trend, simple sells. So yes, I'm glad you brought that up, Carlos, that their winning design was purely text-based. We've had many purely text-based winning designs, and many others have as well. Let's jump into step number 3 of their strategy. They built a simple Shopify website to sell their products and market their brand. Let's talk about this briefly, all right? That's really all you need to make sales, is just a simple website. So I already harped on this, talking about designs, right? But I harped on it and said that everything should be simple across the board when you start out. Simple niche, simple design, simple website, simple marketing. I'm just doubling down on that, okay? And this is one of the reasons why we love Shopify so much. They make it super easy to create a simple website with no tech skills required. I am not a techie. I am not a techie. I don't know how to code. I don't know how to build a website, yet I've been able to build multiple Shopify websites because much of it is just drag and drop, fill in the blank, upload your logo. They make it. They have free pre-made templates, website templates. You can just choose a template and essentially it gives you your website and then you just start filling in things. It's way simpler than many people make it out to be. And so we believe that Shopify is the best platform to build your website, to build a brand, and it's what we use and recommend to all of our students. Carlos, anything you want to add to that?
No, just simple website, very easy. They didn't go crazy with like blogs or anything like that. Just simple. Just have your products on there, build the website with Shopify and drag and drop.
Totally. All right, let's jump into the 4th step of their strategy. And this is where we're gonna hang out for a bit, all right? This is sales and marketing, because I know for a lot of people, this is a big struggle for them. This is probably the number one struggle we see. However, what I will say is I don't actually truly believe that this is the number one thing holding people back from sales, because no matter how good your marketing is, it doesn't matter if your product isn't good, and vice versa. If your product is really good, then your marketing doesn't have to be perfect. It sells itself. You just need to get eyeballs to it. So Step 4, they ran paid ads to amplify their sales and built up an email list that they can leverage to encourage repeat sales. So we always say that there's 3 ways to build an audience, right? You can buy, you can borrow, or you can build. Building is just organic growth, like through social media. Buying is buying paid ads to amplify your reach and hopefully amplify your sales. And then borrowing is borrowing an audience from someone else. Maybe it's a famous content creator in your niche that you're paying them or giving them merch to promote your products to their audience who is ideally in your niche, right? This individual, they used what is our favorite, which is a blend of buying and building. So we love building to kind of have a presence and to kind of build trust and to attract your target audience. But we love buying because you can amplify your reach way faster with paid advertising than you can organically. And so if you have something that you know people want, why would you not want to amplify that reach to get that product in front of more of those people, right? It just makes so much sense. And so they leaned heavily on the buying, especially at the beginning, actually all throughout, because they used it in the way that we like to use it for 2 main reasons, for testing and for scaling. And by scaling, I just mean spending more to reach more people, all right? So this is something that we strongly encourage you to do right away if you know you have a winning design. If you know you have a winning design, there are ways to validate new designs with free or low-cost marketing, especially if you've actually done a good job building, right? If you've built a social media presence of loyal raving fans, if you've built an email list where you can just shoot out an email with your new arrivals, and these are people that signed up, they raised their hand and said, I want to hear from you. So there's a lot of ways to validate new designs with free or low cost marketing. I will say it gets simpler as you grow because you have a bigger audience, you have a bigger email list. That's going to make it easier, right? You get it in front of more people, bigger sample size. But paid ads are one of, if not the quickest way to get validation and to identify winning designs that can be scaled up profitably with paid ads.
Yes.
That should be the goal, right?
Yes.
The goal is to scale up profitably with paid ads. Aside from just testing, paid ads are so powerful for amplifying your reach and your sales when you have a winner. So we strongly, strongly recommend this. And this is exactly what they've been doing. They identified their winning design very quickly. Good for them. Yep. That's awesome. They scaled it up very fast and hard with paid ads. This is exactly what we recommend everyone do, since most of the momentum is usually within the first couple of months. Not only is this helping them reach a ton of people in their niche and make a lot of sales, but it's also allowing them to collect a lot of email addresses, which then allows them to remarket to those customers and turn them into repeat purchasers. So I hope you guys know by now, we love email marketing because we know the fortune is in the follow-up. Oh, yeah. And we would harp on this more if people were as passionate about it as we are, but most people just aren't until they start seeing those Jeffersons coming through from email, right? When they start seeing those dollars coming in and they're like, holy crap, I paid almost nothing to send an email to this email subscriber, and they just spent $100 on my store. Essentially no marketing costs. It's very low cost, right? Email's much lower cost than paid advertising. So email marketing, it's extremely powerful because it's a low cost marketing channel compared to paid advertising. And that allows you to make more profit per sale. More profit per sale. Who doesn't, even if you don't think email marketing is sexy, do you not think that's sexy? Making more profit per sale? I sure as hell do, all right? And that should always be the goal, to use paid advertising to test and to reach and acquire new customers while leveraging email marketing to turn them into repeat buyers. So although this individual is running paid ads to amplify their reach, acquire a ton of new customers, and make a lot of sales, they've also created a huge opportunity for themselves to increase profitability further by building up their email list, which they can continue to remarket to over and over and over again, as you should. Whew, Carlos, man, I think I'm out of breath. Before I recap this strategy, I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, so just to clarify, is a husband and wife team. So there's two, but this individual was the one that was on all the coaching calls and everything. And that brings me to number 5, something that we didn't mention here, but I think it's important to mention is that this individual and their wife followed a proven path and invested in the coaching to help them along that path. I think that's very important because it wasn't them alone. Like, they were new to it. So they actually had to get help. They had to find the resources. They binge watched the podcast, and then they got coaching. I think that's something that people should consider as well in here in the story, because it's not the full story without that.
That's a really good point. Thank you for mentioning that. And we don't usually mention this because we don't want to like hard sell our program. Our program is not for everyone. Our program is for a specific type of person, but we know a lot of 6 and 7 figure sellers in the print on demand space. A lot. We met a lot. We've been in this space for a long time.
Yep.
And of every single one we've ever met, we're still yet to meet anyone who didn't invest in themselves. I'm just saying as it is. We don't say this much because we don't want to come across as you thinking you need our program. Our program might not even be the right program for you, right? You can go and you can do your research, you can do your due diligence yourself, and you can determine if it's a fit or ask us, but it might not even be right for you. But this is a common thread amongst high achievers. They have that growth mindset and they're looking for leverage to grow as quickly as possible. They're like, who do I need to talk to? What rooms do I need to get into to grow as quickly as possible and avoid all the beginner mistakes that other people make? It's true. We try to give you the strategy here. We want you to take this and we want you to try it out and run with it. But there's a lot of nuances that are impossible to incorporate all the time into every episode. And there's a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different situations. And that's why we have ongoing group coaching in our program, because it's very easy to get stuck, but we don't want you to stay stuck, right? Always be moving forward. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But you're totally right, Carlos. Following a proven strategy is essential to success. There's a quote that I really, really like that says, "Where there is no vision, the people perish." I think it's a quote from the Bible, and it is a quote from the Bible. And I like to put this in the context of entrepreneurship and say, where there is no vision, the brands perish. Or where there is no strategy, the brands perish. Because we see that all the time. People are just flying by the seat of their pants and it doesn't work out. And that's just not a recipe for success, right? Of course, it's not going to work out. A lot of people have tried that and failed. And there's other people who you're up against who they have the equivalent to like a personal trainer for bodybuilding, right? Versus some of us who are just going to the gym trying to figure that out on our own. So anything else you want to add?
No.
All right, let's dial it back and just recap the 4 steps. The first one was they chose a profitable niche and created all their products and content for that specific niche. Secondly, they created a winning design. Third, they built a simple Shopify website to sell their products and market their brand. And fourth, they ran paid ads to amplify their sales and built up an email list that they can leverage to encourage repeat sales. And then Carlos's 5th bonus step of the strategy is that they actually followed a proven, tried and tested strategy. They were very coachable. They were very hardworking, and they just stuck to the script.
They did.
So that's where we're going to wrap it up for this episode. If you guys enjoyed this sales and marketing episode, I recommend checking out our free 60-minute on-demand training called How to Make Your First $10,000 with Shopify and Print on Demand, which we're going to link below in the show notes, as we always do. On there, we reveal the strategy that we use to generate multiple millions in sales across 2 apparel brands with Shopify and Print on Demand. And on there, if you are ready to take action and to start or grow your brand and you're looking for coaching, community, and accountability, there is an opportunity at the end of that class to join our training and coaching program called T-Shirt Legends Academy. So if you're looking for direct personalized coaching from Carlos and I to expedite that growth process, you can learn more in that class and decide if TLA is a fit for you. That's all I'm going to say. If you want to register, just go to the training by clicking the link below in the show notes or by going to ecomlegendsacademy.com/grow. With that, we're out of here. You guys are awesome. Remember, start before you're ready, take imperfect action, and know you're always one design away.
Hey, if you're loving the Print on Demand podcast and want more, please help us out by rating this on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you're listening from. It only takes a minute, and this is one of the best ways to support the show and let us know that you're enjoying these weekly episodes. Thank you in advance, and we'll talk soon.